Hello, folks. Welcome to the Short Vol Show again. We're here on a Monday night, and I'm happy to have you here with us. Um, yeah, um, another interesting day in the markets. Another rally turns into a sell off on news that is somehow tangentially related to Donald Trump. The market has turned into the Donald Trump show. And people might say, well, the market's always the president's show, but that's not really the case. Market finds its own things to be focused on, and right now it's always seems to be focused on the Donald Trump show. So here we are, and the latest news was, of course, the FBI on something to do with Mueller's word rating Donald Trump's lawyer Cohen uh, his place, and we think maybe this has something to do with Stormy Daniels, but of course his lawyer famously forked out, I think it was $130,000 to quote unquote pay off Stormy Daniels to keep her mouth shut ahead of the election. Is this surprising to anybody? Is this going to change anyone's views on Donald Trump in any way? Is this going to change anyone's stock portfolio in any way? Probably not. But what I'm sort of looking at is just I'm trying to think about market psychology, and I did have an interesting interview today with a person who's not really following the market that closely, and she kept making the point that um, that me as a trader am so hyper focused on things that I can't really see the big picture. Um, and I was thinking about that, but I was also thinking, of course, that you know she had a distorted view of the picture as well, and when I was thinking about the nature of markets selling off, and there's this feeling that, oh, well, all of a sudden everything is going to sell off. And the assumptions are that kind of makes the assumptions that the market is composed of many small players who are like the general public. And at some point they all panic and sell off and they all run in and try to redeem their shares. Kind of like a sort of a run on the bank scenario. And maybe the market's not really made up of that at this point. I mean, it seems like most of the money in the market, let's say like 80% of the money in the market is like rich people's money who they're not going to take it out no matter what happens. They're just leaving it there. It's just sitting there. And um, I'm starting to feel more and more like this sort of sell-off is played out. And every time that we get more bad news and it tries to move lower or it moves sideways, that's it kind of feels like that's starting to be like just building sort of more of a support. It's kind of like the market's just percolating, and every time it's given a chance to go down more. It kind of feels like the people that want to sell it have gotten their chance to sell it at this point, and then so each time it's like, oh no, let's sell it. The people that were going to short it, the first people to jump in and short it, they were already short it and they've already sold it. And of course, there's some people that are like buying and selling all the time, but it doesn't seem like there's like consensus like panic selling, and it's just kind of that's the sense I get. I can't really point to data which backs me up, so maybe I'm just full of malarkey, but it kind of feels like these news stories keep coming out that make people jump in and sell, and and it happens over and over again. And it kind of feels like at some point everybody who was skittish has already sold, and so the selling pressure at some point. I always have this theory, which I've definitely espoused before, which is that people who have 401ks and other accounts that automatically put money in the market every week, account for a lot of buying in the markets, and you need a certain amount of selling to just counteract that for things to just be even. Also, the number of people on Earth is increasing, um, and the amount of money that's being created is increasing. So there's more money to buy stocks all the time, and so there's natural forces that kind of push the markets up in the absence of anything else. And so I just feel like the selling can't go on forever. It doesn't feel like really strong selling. So none of these are like real reasons to like get long or something like that. But if we look at the price action today, for example, we had a big rally and then it sold off to essentially unchanged. And with that, we had the VIX down about a buck at one point, and then it rallied and it was actually up like 45 cents right on the close. I don't know if it technically closed around up. I think it's either 24 or 28 cents. But I mean, this stuff is setting up every day. It seems to be setting up more and more for a down move in volatility. The up and down moves seem to be getting smaller, and the market seems to be moving more and more sideways and less down. And there's just a lot of reasons combining for a down move in volatility in my mind. Now, you could say, and you might be right, that I'm always looking for an excuse for a down move in volatility, just as people who are kind of always long volatility, or everything they see is a reason why volatility is going up. But remember, we have had volatility going up for a while, and we are in a pretty elevated level, at least compared with last year. I mean, volatility is like almost twice what it was last year, and we know that these products are usually in contango, at least for the history that we have of them, they are. And this has been a long run that we haven't been in contango consistently, and it's got to end at some point, right? Are you with me there? And we kind of failed to hold the rally today, but we didn't end up selling off. We just kind of went back to up a little bit, and up a little bit usually means vol crushage. We didn't get vol crushage though. We got vol up slightly, or you could say unched. And then and the rally looks pretty convincing right now. It's I'm seeing the E-minis up 27, Dow futures up 260, and Nasdaq up 90. One of these times it's got to stick back into contango, and it's going to stay there. At least if we go back, people like to bet on the long shots. I like to bet on the usual, what usually happens, and what usually happens is we go back into contango. So the normal is going to come back at some point, and it's not going to be shocking when it does, and everybody's going to say, oh, it's just normal. But that is the play I would prefer to make, as opposed to making some sort of long shot play. So right now, front month futures are convincingly down 82 cents. Now, as my friend Nick from Market Tea Leaves would say, anything can happen in a volatile market, and that's certainly true. We could get some other tweet, but when you've got bad news stacking on bad news stacking on bad news, more bad news doesn't do that much. At some point, we're going to have some relief to this bad news, and something's going to get resolved, I believe, and we're going to get a little bit of a rally. Now, as I speak to you right now, I'm going to start checking news feeds, because we are getting a bit of a rally as we speak, and I want to see if anything is broken right now. And I see this major decision on Syria, and major decision on Syria, that makes me wonder if that's kind of a something meant to distract from everything that's going on. Yeah, I don't see any breaking news right now, and it might have happened and I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, I don't see it. But exciting times, big reversal again today. I would encourage everybody to check out the latest balance of trade article on Seeking Alpha. I will link to it in the description. And there Adam is talking about how there is a difference between the realized volatility and in the VIX. And he is saying that realized volatility is a lot higher than the VIX. Now, being in backwardation, what that really means is when you have front month futures way higher than back month futures, what that means is that the curve is telling us that there's volatility right now, but there won't be volatility in the future. So that seems to make sense because we are moving around a whole lot right now, and that's probably not going to continue. So that makes sense. So his scenario was we either make a down move in volatility or the curve moves up. And either way would be okay for me at this point because I just want the curve to get out of backwardation so that uvxy can ultimately start moving back down again. uvxy closed right now. It stops trading for the night at 8 o'clock. Right now we're coming up on 10:30. And but E-minis continue to rally, now up 32, and the Dow futures up 300, Nasdaq up 100. So definitely a big rally coming on tonight. Anything could change by tomorrow morning. I do appreciate everybody checking out my interview today. I know it's a little bit off topic, but that can be interesting, and it was interesting for me to actually do the interview. I do have to ask people, please, if you can contribute like $5 a month to Patreon. If I can just get like 2 or 3 more people to do it, it would really help me out. I'm just trying to pay my basic internet bills for my channel, and I just need a couple more people. If you can give $5 a month, it's definitely, I think it's worth it. I'm giving coverage almost every day of the VIX, and it's unique coverage that you can't get anywhere else. So if you do find it useful, please consider giving the $5 to the Patreon. It's something that it takes out of your credit card once a month, and if you have other YouTubers that you're helping out, then it takes it all in one charge, so that's good. It's not a lot of money, but it really helps me out a lot because it adds up if a few people do it. I had a first wave, I asked people 2 weeks ago, and I got a first nice wave. And if I could just get one more nice wave of like 10 people signing up, that would really help me out and sort of take the pressure off so that I can just completely focus on being creative and getting the best guests possible for this channel. Because that's what I really want is, I found this guy, Patrick O'Shaughnessy. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he has a really great podcast, and he's a huge fund manager. He just took over like a $1 zillion hedge fund, a $1 zillion fund. I believe he took over from his father, and so he's able to attract like the best guests, and so I want to do something like that. I want to be able to attract the best guests because I think it would just be interesting to bring them to you. And I'm looking up his website right now. It's called the Investor's Field Guide, so you guys should check that one out too. Investorfieldguide.com. Got great podcast, someone that I really look up to. And yeah, please, if this is something that's useful to you, please consider giving $5 a month to help out through Patreon. If you're totally strapped, and if you just give $1 a month, then I know it's it at least at least is like some moral support for me to know that people are into what I'm doing. And the rally's on, folks. We are going to come out of, I know I keep saying this, but we are going to come out of backwardation here and back in contango, and the short vol train is going to start rolling again. I know it's been a long time and we've had to be very patient, but Warren Buffett says the stock market is basically the transfer of wealth from the impatient to the patient, and I've been very patient with my wait for us to get back into contango, and I know we're going to get there soon, and I appreciate everybody coming along with me for the ride. Great luck trading as we start the day tomorrow, And I am going to be out of town for a week, starting about a week from now. But after that, I plan to really hit the ground running with a specific time every day that I'm doing this show, so that you can check in on your VIX and see what's happening in the world of VIX and volatility every single day. I bet you didn't even know that we needed somebody to be telling you about the VIX every day, but we actually do. I'm very excited that nobody else has stepped into that role, because I'm happy to do that for you. I love telling you about the VIX every day. And right now, we're down almost a point in the front month future, so stuff is happening to the downside here, folks. And, so put your head on your pillow, get a little rest, and when you wake up in the morning, we might see the VIX lower. That is if we don't get too many more tweets in between now and then, which I can't promise you. So thanks for watching, and